So we've had a few lessons about writing fourths and fifths, and even taking this fourth and making it a fifth. This E becomes this E if I have a treble clef. But there are also ways to describe intervals, not just the second, third, fourth, fifth. We're going to get a little bit more complicated here and add a descriptive word for our intervals, major and minor. So the abbreviation would be a capital M2 and a lowercase m2. So remember, the basic way to write a second is you've got two notes a step apart, or two notes a key apart, F and G. So if we look at these keys, you notice there is a note that we've jumped over. So that, by definition, makes this a major second. It's the bigger second. If I write this, and I put a flat, you notice the flat has the line going through it. So even though it's closer to the F, it actually goes with the G. So now we've written this interval, which is only one key away. So that's a minor second. Another way to do this is we start with our two letters. And now here's F, but I can also change it so that this key to this key is the interval. So now you see the middle of the sharp is the same as the F. This flat is slightly higher, it goes with the G. This sharp goes with the F. And so we also call this a minor second. Let me give you two. Here is F to G flat. Here is F sharp to G. Okay, so we took our major second and we created two different types of minor second. Now look at another example with me. I can do this. I'm not going to put them right next to one another because it doesn't really work. I just wrote F to F sharp. The reason this is not a minor second is we don't have two letters, right? We're using the same letter. For it to be a second, you have to go up the scale steps like we talked about. You have to use different letters. This would be called a half step. And this is a half step, and this is a half step. But for it to be specifically a minor second, you have to have the different letters. That's really important going forward as we learn how to write all of the intervals, not just seconds. So let's do a couple of identifications. All right. So we have 4 different examples. All of them except this one. You know what? I'm gonna, just to keep it consistent, I'm connecting the notes as if we're playing them together, and then the accidental has to be out here. All right, so when you're looking at these, you don't need the keyboard to see that this is 1 letter apart, 1 letter apart, 1 letter apart, 1 letter apart. You can say they're all seconds, right? When you're going to decide on this part of your definition, you either have to have a keyboard in front of you, or you can think with your fingers what the keys are so well that you know this is 1 key apart. I'm starting from the back and working our way backwards. So that's our half step. That's a minor second. And I've switched to bass clef just so you're aware. Here is A flat and B flat. So the black keys are right next to one another, but we've skipped over a white key. So that is a major second. So you notice it doesn't mean if there's a flat or a sharp that it's minor. It's just these examples worked out that way. You've really got to think with your fingers or find them on the keyboard track with the keyboard. Have I skipped a key or have I not skipped a key? And that tells you uppercase M or lowercase m. So backing up one more, C and D flat. There we are, my pen got away from me. And then this one is kind of tricky. Here's E, and here's F sharp. It looks like it might be one of these where it's just bringing us 1 step away, but actually from E to F sharp skips over a key. So this is also a major second. Now, I compared this to these because they are all half steps, even though this one doesn't get the minor second designation. What you may have already learned is that a major second is the same as saying whole step, right? From C to D is a whole step. From D to E is a whole step. That's going to come up in a different type of scale that we're going to talk about. All right, all for now. We've just introduced major and minor intervals.